Hey guys, Frank here and welcome to another episode of How Did I Shoot This One? And today we have an image that I absolutely love. It's this one. So how did I create an image like this? Well, during the workshops, what we try to do is, of course, first explain all the techniques like lighting, Rembrandt, and of course your butterfly or split lighting or accent lighting. But in the end, is that really important? Yes, of course it's important. If you start studying music, it's important you know your major and minor scales, right? But if you want to be more creative, that's where you have to use another part of your brain. So when you create music, your basic scales are of course minor and major. But within those scales, and actually there's only one scale, the major scale, because within that scale there are many modes. And now the cool thing about with music is that those modes determine the mood of your music. You can make something sound very Egyptian or very Spanish, or you can make it very sad or very happy. It's all about which notes do you choose by which chords. But you have to know the basics. And that's the same with lighting. If you know the basics of lighting and you know how shadows behave, but also how light behaves, you can visualize something in your mind and just shoot it. And that's exactly how we started with this. Now the first tip is of course flea markets and second-hand markets. I absolutely love it, but also junkyards, for example, and that's actually where we got the prop for today. Now, during the workshop, one of my students said, isn't it cool to shine your light through something, create shadows, and maybe create a little bit of a set? And I was going like, yeah man, let's create something from a horror movie. Maybe Salem's Lot, you know, where somebody's sitting in front of the window and there's these vampires coming out of the smoke just hitting the window. And that was actually the idea. Now, with most of my shoots, it starts with an idea and then we slowly build towards something else. And that's actually what happens here. So let's start out very simple. The first thing you get is, of course, your prop. Now, this is why I love junkyards and flea markets and whatnot more, or maybe your family. I got this window many years ago and I've used it in several shots and it's still a great prop to use. Make it a little bit dirty, put some water on the window and it's great. But in this case we just left it as it is. The problem is, how do you balance a window like this for a set? Now, this is where a background system comes into place. I love having extra background systems in my studio to hang chandeliers from, use it for materials, and of course balance something like this against. Do make sure that you also secure it because you don't want flat models because something falls on them, right? Now, of course the window isn't wide enough. I could go for, let's shoot portrait mode, but I just love landscape mode more because it breathes more, it gives you more space to work with. So we have to make sure that we can do two things. One, make sure that we can Photoshop everything out later in Photoshop or Lightroom, or build it in the set. And I'm a very big advocate for making sure that everything is right in the set. You can always do it later, but in the set it just works faster, it looks more natural, and sometimes there is stuff that you simply can't get out in Photoshop or Lightroom without making it look fake. So in this case, on the set. And as mentioned, I'm using a background system. We have this window, so why not just use black cloth material on the sides of that window to block all the light? Works perfectly. And it actually also worked out great for something else. Now, place the model behind the window, looking out, great. Use a continuous light source to get a little bit open shadows, also nice. And by the way, if you want to combine strobes and continuous lighting, I've talked about this many times during videos, but if this is the first video you see from us, continuous lighting builds up over time. We call that cumulative, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. A strobe is a pulse at once. So when I set up a scene with continuous lighting and strobes, I always put my EVF on emulation mode. I look through the viewfinder and I will just set everything up the way that I like my continuous lighting. I just ignore the strobes. And at that point I know exactly how to set up my strobe. Then I pick up my light meter, meter the strobes, and now I can combine the two. And of course you can change the balance during the photo shoot by just lowering the shutter speed. Don't change anything else because then you also influence your strobe. So for example, ISO or aperture influence the strobe. Shutter speed is the only one that also influences the continuous lighting in that setup, of course. So setting everything up. Now that we have our set, we of course want to make sure that we see the shadows. In this case, it's important to use a harsh quality of light, so a reflector with a grid or a snoot, and place the light far away from our subject, in this case, our window. Our model is not the subject in this case, it's the window, because we want the window to cast the shadows. Now when I set something like this up, it looked nice, you know, it was okay. We got this nice shadow on the floor, place your model in there, but it was really boring. It didn't look right. And that's because we weren't done yet. Now, I already told you, sometimes stuff changes with me, and because I didn't want the vampire hitting on the wall or on the window, I thought, like, why not use Christmas lighting? This is also a great way to explain more about letting in more faint continuous lighting. So we put some Christmas lighting behind the window, making the model sit on the other side, just looking to the side. And it was going like, okay, this looks nice, but remember that Salem's Lot? Yes. We decided not to use the vampire, but actually the smoke. And the cool thing about smoke is, if you backlight the smoke, which is actually already happening here because we are backlighting that window, you get a beautiful, beautiful structure. And this is exactly what I wanted for this photo shoot. Your model is sitting behind the window, looking out at the Christmas light, and you see the fog coming up. Now, if you don't tell anything about this photo, the cool thing is you can create many different stories. For example, is this really a horror scene? Is he just sitting there waiting for Christmas and the fog coming in, waiting for a family? Or is all the Christmas lights out there on the floor because the Christmas tree was cut down by an evil dwarf and all the fog? You know, you can go any direction you want with a story. And that's why I don't label my images. I want you guys to make up the stories. Now do remember, these shots were done during a workshop, so the results aren't 100% perfect. It's all about explaining the techniques, explaining how you can do it, and then recreate something like this. For example, in a real set where you have a real window and a real backdrop, because then something like this works like a charm. In a studio setup, it still looks fake. It still looks a little bit like, okay, it's cool, but it's artificial. But if you use this technique on a real location, for example, a farmhouse or whatever, you get some really funky creative ideas. So let's go to the studio and see the behind the scenes video and of course the final results. So, next time you're at a flea market or a junkyard, start looking for some props in your studio and make sure you have an extra background system and some black materials to dampen everything off. Oh, and get some smoke machines and some assistants. It's awesome. As you can see, I'm very enthusiastic about building sets and creating a story. It's so much more fun than just placing your lighting and creating a Rembrandt lighting or butterfly. Nothing wrong with that, but creating a story, telling something, that's the real power of photography. That's the part that we have to practice, because just like with music, if you know your basic scale, your major scale, you remember all the modes are just part of that major scale. So if you know your basics of photography, what shadows do, how you can light something, why is smoke perfect when you backlight it but not from the front? Because it reflects, right? That's the basics. And then you can start creating music or stories. For me, it's creating music with my music stuff, but creating stories with my camera. A great portrait, for me, also tells a little bit of a story. See you again next time. Bye, guys.